Hi guys, welcome back to We Should Talk, a pop culture interview series from In the Know. I'm your host, Gibson Johns, and this week on the podcast, we have Lindsay Hubbard from Summer House, which means that yes, Summer House is officially back on Bravo. Season 6 premieres on Monday, January 17th at 9 p.m. And Lindsay is always an amazing interview. She is such an open book. She has such great energy, and I think she's really one of the stars of Summer House. And we talked about everything under the sun, everything about season 6, everything from Winter House that's carrying over to the season of Summer House. It's the first time that we've really had this off-season check-in with this whole cast in any official capacity beyond social media, which I think is really fun. And it's sort of adding this whole other layer of things to this premiere and this season. This is Lindsay's Hot Hubs summer, as it's being dubbed, and she's really kind of trying to play the field, not being tied down after last year's sort of disastrous relationship. And it seems like she had a lot of fun. We talked about her and Austin and Sierra, also a lot about Lindsay and Carl, because I think, regardless of whether they're friends or dating, it's always been undeniable that they have had a really deep connection, and it's gotten kind of deeper over the years. And we see that in a really emotional moment in the premiere. And we talked about kind of where they stand. She confirms something really big that a lot of people have been speculating about her love life in this interview. I won't take the words out of her mouth. You can keep listening for that, but was really surprised that she did confirm that. And and we also talked about Kyle and Amanda, Craig and Paige, the newbies, and then also the premiere, which is a really fantastic episode. It ends with this really emotional moment that I just mentioned, and it's something that Lindsay went through in the off season that nobody knew about. Very serious, very heartbreaking. But she shares it for the first time in a really organic, emotional way. And we kind of talked around that because I think it's going to come out in the premiere episode. But I just really admire her for sharing that, and again, for just being such an open book, because I think it will endear people to her even more than they already do, because everyone already loves Lindsay. But anyway, keep listening for my interview with Lindsay Hubbard. Tune into the season 6 premiere of Summer House on Bravo, Monday, January 17th at 9 p.m. And please rate, review, and subscribe to We Should Talk on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, guys, so we are here with Lindsay Hubbard, Hub House. Summer House Season 6 is on the horizon. Lindsay, how are you?
I mean, I just cannot believe that it's 6 seasons. If you really stop and think about it, that is wild.
Wild. I mean, that means that we've done probably like 8 to 10 interviews over the years at this point.
Probably more.
Yeah, honestly, Winter House has got several seasons, so it's been a fun ride. I've said this a million times, but I can't think of another show on Bravo that's had like such a steady upward trajectory over the years. Like, it just gets better and better every single year. And
yeah, well, that's really hard to do.
It is. A lot of people peak early, and you guys, I don't know if you've reached your peak yet.
Oh, I hope not. I mean, we're just getting started.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I feel like I feel like I just saw you at the Winter House premiere party, but Winter House was a whirlwind ride. It was 6 episodes. It was really fun. A lot came out of that show. Do you feel like this is sort of like a year-round thing now for you, now that we're doing Summer House, Winter House? Like, it's a full-time gig.
Yeah, it really is. It's interesting because, while Summer House is airing, which obviously premieres next week, and then we'll you'll see us on TV for 3-4 months. Then hopefully, we're out filming Winter House, and then next thing you know, when that premieres, we're doing press. So does kind of, you kind of collide with each other when one's on TV and you're doing press for the other one, and you start to go, your wires get crossed, but. It's fun.
I think it's also, it adds layers to it. It sort of, again, like, so much happened on Winter House, even though it was such a short season. Like, I think it makes more intrigue for what Summer House has to bring this season,
Totally. And I'm glad you guys get to see now that so much does happen during the off season.
Yeah.
Our whole lives aren't developed during the summertime as much as we would love to admit that. It's just not the case. There's a lot that happens in the, fall, winter, spring. So being able to have a second show that helps tell those stories of what happens during the off season from Summer House is also, I think, very helpful. And I think you'll see in this season of Summer House, there's a lot of, unfinished business from Winter House that we still have to cover and does get brought up in this season of Summer House.
Yeah. And we'll get some visitors. Like, I think it's again, it changes the game a little bit. And I think, coming out of Winter House, there's a lot of kind of love life things that we're trying to follow, I think, and people are trying to piece together what we can expect. But for you, I think it's being dubbed the hot hub summer. I think you have a couple irons in the fire, and it's I feel like it seems like you don't want to be tied down really this summer. Is that a correct sort of kind of characterization of your mindset last summer?
100%. Last season of Summer House, I was very much tied down. I was in a relationship that wasn't the healthiest of relationships. And, right before going into filming this summer, I went through a pretty significant life moment. And my summer could have gone a very, very different direction. So once that happened, I sort of just changed my outlook on how I wanted my summer to go. And I really just wanted zero attachments and to just focus on having so much fun this summer. And I did. I can honestly say that I think I had the most fun summer of my entire life, legitimately the most fun. So that was my goal. And I think I accomplished it.
Good. And so do you attribute that to just your mindset and how you approach things? Do you attribute that to sort of, it wasn't like last summer where you guys were locked down, so you could kind of bust out a little more? Or what do you kind of attribute that to having so much fun?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as you said, it was a hot hub summer. I was very single this summer, had zero attachments, and I didn't really let anyone else's drama affect me so much this summer. Whereas maybe in the past I did. Mm-hmm. I was just super focused on living my life, having fun, and just enjoying myself.
Yeah.
I didn't, I spent a lot, my entire life focused on my career and putting that first and attempting to have these relationships, where I've made very terrible decisions because I wasn't super focused on what I wanted personally in my life. So this summer, I think a lot of me, changing my mindset of just wanting to have fun also kind of coincided with the decision that I made to put my career more on the back burner and focus on myself and what I wanted and, in my personal life.
Mm-hmm. And when you say put your career on the back burner, does that mean that you aren't as involved in the PR side of things now? And you're
I put a pause on my PR career, which is something I've never done. And
I think
I've been working since I was 14 years old. So for 20 years, I've never taken more than a week off. I've never, ever taken more than a week. Even when I graduated college, I moved to New York 3 days later and started working at a PR firm immediately. Even when I was in between PR firms or starting my own PR firm, there was 0 days. Even when I started Hub House PR, I started that the next day after I left my last PR firm. So I've never taken a break to just solely focus on what Hub House wants in my personal life. And, I think that's an important thing that needs to happen at some point. And I really did focus on that. And that allowed me to have fun. And, when I truly say zero attachments, I truly mean that. I had zero attachments romantically, as far as having a boyfriend. And I had zero attachments as far as, being married to my work.
Totally. Yeah. And I think, there's obviously other ways for you to make money now. You have a whole kind of new kind of career for yourself over the past 5 or 6 years, which is amazing. So I think that's awesome. And I think again, we saw last summer, it made for some wild moments, but I think I'll never forget your sandwich comment, but or that dinner by the pool. But I think like it was important for you to have a different summer this year. And I think that I'm happy to, I'm glad and I'm excited to see sort of what that entails and what we're going to see there. So you have, I mean, like I said, we have a couple irons in the fire, and you know, you ended Winter House kind of hooking up with Jason, but then in this premiere, it seems like, you know, Austin might be back in the mix. Obviously, you know, there's the constant questions of what you and Carl are. So I just want to go through a little bit. So with Austin, you know, him and Sierra, this film before Winter House aired, which I think is important to say, because I think, you know, Sierra and him, I think we saw a lot of that in Winter House, and probably saw a lot more of like what they had to say about that. But, you know, him and Sierra didn't end Winter House exclusive, and
Right.
you guys have a long history, as we learned on Winter House. And it seems like, I mean, we see like a really intimate moment between you two in a bed in the trailer for this season. Very intimate. He's like, I can't even repeat the one-liner he says to you. But what can we expect there? Are you gonna fully jump back into that with him, like, or are you just kind of having fun with him again? Because it seems like it causes some drama with Sierra as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously Austin comes out this summer. He actually came for my birthday weekend. It was a pretty big birthday, and I threw an epic, huge themed
So
party.
sad I missed it, Lindsay.
What? I know.
So
I invited you. I was like,
come
out for my birthday. Weren't you celebrating your birthday or something?
Yeah, we're both Leos. We both have similar.
Yeah, I think you were whatever. Like, sorry, I'm celebrating my birthday. Like, you Leo. I get it. I was like, I get it though. Yeah. So he came out for my birthday. And that was it. But yeah, a lot gets accomplished when Austin's in the mix. So you'll see how that all goes down. Yeah. I will say that was for sure one of the best weekends in all of Summer House history.
Wow. For you personally, or is that just a general statement?
I don't know. I think like you could, that themed party was just so epic. Yeah. It was just an epic themed party.
I'm excited to see it. And so, but it seems like, obviously, I mean, we see Danielle say something along the lines of like, you know, the two women are fighting over a guy, and he's sort of getting off scotch-free. She sort of implies this in the trailer, and then we see Danielle and Sierra throwing wine at each other. What can we expect from how that complicates the kind of female friendships in that circle?
Well, I mean, it doesn't affect Danielle and I's friendship.
Of course. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. No, you guys are solid.
Yeah. So this was kind of like a double-pronged question. I think as far as, you know, females fighting over Austin, I don't fight females over men. I don't find that I need or have ever needed to compete with females, especially over guys. I think Sierra was maybe trying to be the more aggressor when it came to the fighting portion of that. And as far as like affecting my friendship with Sierra, I just never really had one to begin with. She came in season 5 with Luke, and then didn't really talk to him and didn't really talk to me. And then I didn't really talk to her in Winter House either. She was kind of consumed with, you know, her developing relationship with Austin. So I never really had some sort of friendship or relationship with Sierra that anything would be affected.
Yeah. So for you, it's like you don't have sort of any allegiance to her. So why can't you kind of pursue what you want to pursue, kind of thing?
Well, I mean, listen, Austin and I have known each other for
of course,
a very long time. And I'm certainly not going to cater to anybody who wants to stake claims or compete with me, you know, compete with somebody else. But I don't really play that game. Yeah. You know, and as far as the wine throwing, we didn't know until somebody like slowed that whole scene down, or that whole situation. We didn't know that the glass was thrown until that was slowed down, which I think is kind of a big no-no.
I mean, it's like very Housewives-ian. It's very Real Housewives. You know, it's a very
we're a very different show. You know,
I agree.
Even the boys didn't come to blows last year in their big fight,
right.
Nothing.
I think that's what makes it so unusual to see a moment like that, even in just the trailer. It's like, oh, wow. Like it gets to that point. You know what I mean? But
I don't think it had to get to that point.
Okay.
I don't think it should have. There was literally nothing that
warranted
it to get to that point. So,
but I will say though, Lindsay, like, whether, I don't know, obviously I don't know what the circumstances were, but I think that what it tells me a little bit is like, it reinforces that Danielle is a true ride or die for you. Like whatever happened last summer, like Danielle and you have such a true, real friendship you're so solid with one another. Like, I don't know, like, and I think for me, like I saw last year, Danielle almost had she's been around since the beginning, but she had almost a breakout season last year. I think because she was around the whole time, but I think fans really latched on to Danielle last year, and like people.
Well, you got to see more. You got to see a deeper side to Danielle. Like you could understand, why she was a little bit more absent in previous seasons, because that girl works her ass off, and she works in a very male-dominated field that she has to be on her A game at all times. So you guys were able to see that last summer, in season 5, when, you saw more of what she does at a work, career level that makes her, who she is. So, and like Danielle and I are ride or die. We very much are best friends, and we will do anything for each other. And she's always been my sounding board and always has given me such amazing, objective advice. And this summer she's in a relationship. So I think you'll see how I sort of return that favor and giving her advice and being there for her, whether it's in her relationship or, when it comes to other situations in the house. Like we think and feel very similarly, Danielle and I, about, different things in life. So our friendship is really easy. I can tell that we're very bonded.
And I'm just happy that sort of she was given the space last year to sort of form that connection with the viewers. I think that it's going to carry through this year. And I think she's so great. So I think it's just awesome to have her more solidified within the group,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So last thing about Austin, you famously unfollowed him after Watch What Happens Live. And there's a lot of people just love talking about this. So what can you tell me about where you guys stand now, just in your friendship or relationship or what have you?
We still haven't had any huge conversation since, everything sort of went down with our friendship. I would like to. I know that he would like to. I was just in Charleston, with the Loverboy team when they were launching Loverboy in Charleston. And we were all together as a group, the Southern Charm crew and the 4 of us from Summer House. So we were, around each other, but we didn't have the opportunity to fully have an in-depth conversation that I think this deserves. So we still haven't really spoken. I mean, obviously he was busy filming, and I'm focused on other things. So I'm sure that the time will come and we'll eventually have a conversation, and I don't mind.
I think what, like you said earlier, I think it's like you guys have such a history of friendship and sometimes more, but that's important. I think it's important to sometimes give those relationships some space to settle when something happens, and then you'll circle back, and I think it's clear that you're both important to one another, regardless of what kind of that means. You know what I mean? I think that's undeniable to me.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens when we talk. I'm sure it'll all work out and I'll be fine. And, I said this a few months ago. I don't know if our friendship will ever go back to the level of best friends that it was. Sure. And that's okay. That happens in life. So, but we'll see what happens whenever we do talk.
Yeah. So the other big question that I think everyone likes to ask, I mean, I've been asked this separately in other podcasts, but I never really know what to say. And I always just say, I don't know.
Everyone asks you.
Yes, literally is literally, are you and Carl dating right now? And what is your answer to that?
Yes, we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you guys. That's
Thank
amazing.
you. Thanks. I know it is funny. Like everybody is like asking everyone. It's very, very rare that we get to experience privacy in our dating
Totally.
lives. Or even a honeymoon phase. Like if you think about it, we're not filming right now. So I didn't feel like I needed to give anyone any sort of update or confirmation on the status of my relationship. I mean, if you think about it, we're in New York City. You don't really confirm, even if you're not on TV, you don't confirm that you're, officially with somebody for a few months. So we're no different. And the only difference is that it's very public in our lives.
Yeah.
And we wanted to keep it private for ourselves to just enjoy each other's company and that new dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, that's so exciting. I think a lot of people are going to be thrilled for both of you because I think obviously, what was it, a couple seasons ago when you guys sort of gave it a go, sort of like a little bit, and it didn't really work out. But I think he in particular was in a very different place in his life.
Yeah, but I will say, I mean, we both had very different headspaces
Right.
back then, and that was season
Mm-hmm.
4. We were also in the middle of filming where, I hate to say it, but that is a tough environment to begin dating somebody. There's a lot of opinions and you're sharing a house with people and there's a lot of scrutiny. And I think this time around, it's very different. We're both in a very different headspace and, timing is everything. I don't think it would have worked until now for us to give it a go, as you say, until
Yeah.
now. So yeah, it's exciting. And we're both very, very happy.
Yeah. I think it's, to me, again, that speaks to sort of the importance. You guys stayed in each other's lives, regardless of what was happening in your lives around in your group. Like you guys stayed and sort of maintained this really, really close bond. And I think you were really there for him last year when he was going through a lot, or last season. And I don't know, I think that's your connection has always been really clear. So I think it's really cool to hear that you sort of have committed to one another in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because even after we tried a couple of years ago and it didn't work out, and it took a little bit, but then once we got back to being friends to then becoming best friends again, we got closer, which I think was just always, I don't know, it was just like always like, even just thinking about it now, I'm like, wow, how did we do that? And there is no like book or, nobody can really explain to you like how to do that. Like we tried dating, it didn't work out. We were both in a very different headspace. Then we took a little time apart. Then we became friends again. Then we got closer. Then he moved into the building. Then he got sober. And then, it's just like, the evolution of our friendship. You guys have had a front row seat to.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think, in this new chapter that we are developing, you guys will also see that evolution grow as well.
Good. Yeah. And I mean, last thing is like, not for nothing, but you guys also, you both live these like really unique lifestyles with your space on this show and for now 6 years. And like only a certain amount of people can really understand that. And I think fit into that. And I think for you guys to have found a way to like make that work, because again, this is a huge thing that you guys can like kind of relate to one another on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you shared experience is a huge reason why it works in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
And being able to share this experience with each other, it is a huge aspect because it's not one person, trying to explain to another or, a significant other getting jealous of the other person's notoriety.
Sure.
We're very much equal. And I think this is the first time that I have been able to finally date somebody who is the exact equal as I am. And that's fun and it's exciting. Like we started the show together and we've been on the exact same amount of time. And although he wasn't in Vermont with us, you know, because he wanted to focus on his sobriety, which was the best decision, you know, being able to still share this experience, you know, is fun and exciting.
So exciting. I'm so excited for you. And, you know, we mentioned this.
You didn't think I was going to confirm, did you?
I didn't. I literally didn't. And I'm like, wow. It's a safe space here, Lindsay.
That's all right. It was bound. I mean, it's not like we've been super, you know.
No. I mean, but I do think like you guys have. It's funny because I couldn't at some point I couldn't tell like are they just having fun with people by sort of posting some of those kind of cuddly pictures, and it's hard to tell. But because you guys have always had a flirty relationship and kind of, you know, being close. So I don't know. I think it's great. I think it's great that you guys are going forward with it. I'm excited.
Well, you'll see. I mean, you'll see how, as the season goes. I mean, obviously, like, look, like I'm, you know, sitting here in episode 1 and I get in a fight with Carl. So for me, watching that was pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like I'm literally in a fight with the guy I'm now dating and I'm fighting with him about, you know, a
whether
guy
you're
that
single
I used
or whatever. To yeah. Right.
So
it's kind of a mind, if you will, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was definitely uncomfortable.
But I think at the moment we see at the end of the episode, which again, it's about something really serious that you went through and people will learn about it in the premiere. But, you know, to me, I watched that moment and I got kind of emotional watching it because one of just the nature of it, but two, I thought about last season, how you had been there so much for him when he was going through loss of his brother and just kind of, you know, kind of being steadfast in his sobriety and all that. And you were really, really there for him. You obviously a lot of the rest of the house was too, but you really stood by him and you were a rock for him. And I think to see that the table flip a little bit and for him to be there for you and this conversation to really organically happen at the end of this episode. And it just felt so real and so right. And in that moment to watch that. And I just think it spoke to your connection. And I thought that before you even confirmed that you are now dating, like it just like baseline, like whether it's romantic or not, like you guys have that connection. And that moment really spoke to that.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, having not had shared that moment with Carl until I did was really hard for me. I tried to talk to him, you know, literally the day that it happened, but he was so busy with work. He was traveling and launching Loverboy in different states. And I just I knew he was just, his mind was his capacity to handle, you know, my stuff. Like I didn't want to burden him with it. So I didn't, but it also was very hard. Like I tell Carl everything in life, everything. And like, even now, you know, like we still talk about everything. And
of course.
And, so that was very difficult. I felt a lot of relief after having that conversation with him. Like, okay, like Danielle knew, but now Carl knows and I feel better.
And those are the two really people that matter the most there. So I'm glad that you felt that. You know, I want to end it on a little bit of a lighter note with some questions about some of the other people in the house. There's obviously a lot of intrigue around Paige and Craig. And I think, you know, it was funny the Winter House timing was interesting because they had sort of publicly confirmed the relationship, but people were sort of still talking around it. And in Winter House, they were platonic and nothing happened there. So for you to like have experienced Winter House with them and then see how their relationship progressed into being romantic, what was your first reaction back when that was happening? Like, because they seem like they're a great match, but I'm curious, as somebody who's so close to it, what your reaction was.
I mean, I don't know if I had too much of a reaction. You know, I'm a big believer that everyone they deserve happiness. And, if Craig makes Paige happy, then I'm all for it. And vice versa, if she makes him happy. They were platonic in Vermont, but he had a girlfriend and he was getting to know Andrea, which, that
we'll
kind of fizzled out. But
right.
as far as Craig and Paige, I don't know. Like I would hear from Austin when we were on the phone, oh, Paige is in town visiting Craig. I'm like, oh, interesting.
Okay.
I think that they're good for each other from what it seems.
It does seem that way. Yeah. Another big part of the premiere that people will see is like Kyle and Amanda don't start off the summer very well at all. And there's like the first night is really, it's just not good for them. And like a lot kind of comes out, watching people sort of, I guess kind of her closest friends in the house, Paige and Sierra, sort of be there for her and talking about sort of where she stands with Kyle and kind of going into this wedding. And again, you're really close with Kyle and Amanda, but what's it like sort of watching them kind of still kind of struggle through some of these things when they're kind of going up on the biggest day of their lives? Like, because again, you're so close to them.
Yeah, I didn't fully understand until I watched it, like what exactly was happening or what they had thought about. Like I woke up the next morning and
right.
Like, oh God,
the suitcase is outside.
A conversation with Carl.
Yeah.
And then I'm finding out that Kyle's luggage was outside. It sucks. It sucks to like watch good friends of yours struggle or have conflict in their relationship. And I know that they want it to work so bad and we want it to work, so bad for them. And, it's hard. That first weekend, you're in a new house, like emotions are like,
yeah.
Kyle doesn't go out much in the city and, he's back in the Hamptons. We weren't able to go out last season. So it's difficult. I didn't necessarily know that, there was more conflict recently before getting out to the Hamptons. So I'm sort of just learning about certain things as I'm watching it. We are not like privy to everything that's going on in everyone's lives, despite the fact that we live in the same house. We don't know everything about everyone. So, I think at that moment we all just like want them to work it out and figure it out.
And they clearly do.
They know they got married.
Yeah, exactly. They clearly do. Yeah. And it seems like that was an amazing kind of fairy tale, dreamy day. So I'm glad.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me one highlight from that day for you.
Oh, one highlight. Just all of us dancing on the dance floor and like something happened where the music just hit just right. And we're all jumping up and down like simultaneously. It was
Great feeling.
So much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And lastly, we have 2 new additions to the summer. I guess 3 new additions. Andrea but he was in Winter House, so we're familiar with him.
Right.
What can you tell me about Maya and I want to say, is his name Alex?
Alex.
Yeah. Maya and Alex. What can you tell me about what they might bring to the table? Because you've been around to sort of judge the newbies for 5 or 6 years now. Like, you know who has the potential. So what do you make of them?
Yeah. Well, I think that they're both really cool. That is sort of like the first impression that I got that I think that viewers will get. Alex is very strict with his regimen, like, working out and those arms, they're massive.
Making turkey at like 10 a.m. I'm like, huh?
Yeah. But I was pretty quick to break those barriers down and get him to loosen up. So once that happened, he was so much fun to be around. He's really funny. Good. And he's fun. Maya's just really cool, super neutral, which I really enjoyed that she sort of stayed more neutral. Whereas like in the past, some of the newer girls who came in, they feel more connected to the younger age,
right?
Females in the house. So, so I don't know. I think that viewers will like them. They both are really cool and fun to be around.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of, like a couple of seasons ago, Hannah was a new person in the house and you guys butt heads over the years and she's not back this summer. did you feel her energy not there? Like, did it feel like a different energy not having her in the house?
I mean, I will say it was a lighter summer, but
Okay.
there's a lot of that led it to being a darker summer last year,
Of course.
a pandemic included, but it was very much an obviously lighter summer.
Okay.
That's more fun. And I think it'll be
That's
more
good.
fun for viewers to watch
Yeah.
as well.
So, and what tease one more thing for me before we sign off. Like season 6 of Summer House, it's lighter. I know there's a lot of theme parties this year. You're playing the field. I mean, give me one more little tidbit of what people can expect.
I mean, I think it is interesting because like a lot of the dynamics are still there.
Yeah.
Like the key and core dynamics of what makes Summer House are still there, but it's within different people.
Yeah.
Like you've never quite seen me this single before, and you've never seen Danielle in a relationship. Or Paige, you've never gotten to know somebody that she's dated, but now you get to know somebody that
Totally.
she's dating, seriously. And then this is our first wedding, like I think we're all like, so excited to like finally get Kyle and Amanda down the aisle. So I think the dynamics are still the same as they've always been, but within different people, which I think makes it interesting and intriguing because, it's different people experiencing,
I think
what
so
others
too.
have experienced.
Yeah, I think so too. It's same, but different, and I think that again, it seems like it's getting better every year. So I'm excited, and I'm excited for everyone to see this premiere. Lindsay, thank you as always for taking the time. I love chatting with you every single season.
I know. I do.
I'm
too.
so happy. I miss you too. I'm so happy for you and Carl. And I'm also, again, I admire you so much for what you share in this premiere and just for how open you are. Because I think a lot of people will be moved by that, and a lot of people will just kind of be endeared to you even more than they already are, because a lot of people love you. So Lindsay, thank you so much for taking the time as always. Yeah.
You're the best.
Love you. Yeah, I'll talk soon. We'll talk soon. Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to We Should Talk. I hope you enjoyed the interview. You can find out more about In the Know at intheknow.com. You can follow me, Gibson Johns, at Gibsonoma on Twitter and Instagram. And you can listen to all of our interviews, past and future, by searching We Should Talk wherever you get your podcasts. Hope to see you next time.